Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. We're going to be starting a new series called Wagging Wednesday, where every Wednesday we're going to be talking with our training and enrichment team on some frequent behavior and training questions that we get from adopters and fosters. With us today we have Miriam. Hi Miriam, thank you for joining us.
Hi,
So
thank you for having me.
So Miriam has been a trainer for 15 years. She has also been with El Paso Animal Services for 7 years. So she has a lot of years of experience working with a wide variety of different pets. So Miriam, today we're going to be talking about house training or potty training, which is always one of the top questions that we get from adopters and fosters when they're taking a new pet home. So can you tell us what's the best way to start your pet on a potty training plan?
Yes, of course. It depends whether you're taking home a puppy or an adult dog. The first thing you want to do is have the confinement area for the puppy or for the adult dog ready. That means preferably an X pen for a little puppy or a small dog, and for an adult dog, a crate. There's several ways to get them used to those areas, but dogs that are just coming home from a shelter environment should not have access to the entire house. They should be confined to one area so they don't wander off and get into trouble. And they should be supervised when roaming freely at all times. For puppies, we suggest that you take it outside every hour, since puppies only have bladder control for about 1.5 hours at 12 weeks of age. And that you take it to the same spot every time. They need to be on a strict feeding schedule at the same time every day, so you can predict bowel movements and the need to eliminate. And with adult dogs, we suggest the same thing, to have them on a strict feeding schedule, to take them outside to the same spot and monitor. And if your dog starts losing attention from you and wandering off in the area, probably time to go outside.
So you talked a lot about puppies and adult dogs, but a common misconception when people are looking to adopt is taking home an adult dog, it's harder to potty train them. What kind of advice do you have for someone that might be looking to adopt an adult dog?
With an adult dog, we don't know the history of where the dog comes from, or the history of how it's been trained, whether punishment-based or not. Some dogs are really uncomfortable in a new environment, so forming a relationship with gentle praise and giving the dog a reward, a treat when it does go outside, or sometimes they start to get nervous and start wandering around in the area you have them in. And then probably I would say for an adult dog, every 1 or 2 hours as well. And I think it's easier to train an adult dog than it is to train a puppy, because with a puppy you have to be very strict about the hourly potty break.
So what would you do in case you do catch your dog going potty in the house?
Definitely interrupt the behavior, but don't scare the dog, because if the dog has a negative experience to you interrupting it or punishing it, the dog might hide it. That makes it harder when you take the dog outside and then expect the dog to go potty when you're there. So a lot of people say, well, I just took him outside and I've been rubbing his nose into the feces, and then as soon as I come inside, I turn around and he goes right then and there. And it's because they have learned that going potty in front of you is consistent with trouble. So interrupt the dog, take it outside where it's supposed to go, and definitely give it a few minutes to go again. But that's why we only give the puppy access to one area of the house, so it cannot wander off and hide in the bedroom. Definitely do not punish or rub the nose in. That will ruin the relationship you have with your dog.
Instead, you want to reward their good behavior, right?
Always, yes. As soon as it goes where you want it to eliminate in the same spot, definitely reward with a treat, praise, and then go back inside. Some dogs don't want to go back inside, so you stay. If you notice the dog still wants to be outside, you can stay a little longer. But other dogs don't like to be outside because they just came from the shelter and they just want to go back into the house. So
That's great advice. A lot of times people consider marking inside the house to be, a sign of not being potty trained, what advice do you have on marking?
Urine marking is definitely typical for intact, sexually intact dogs, females and males. I've seen females urine mark, but it's dribbles of urine. So the same goes, one area, make sure that there's no pre-existing urine on the floor, and definitely try to get rid of whatever the dog urine marks. Spaying and neutering will help in some instances with that territorial behavior, sexually driven behavior. But if not, for males, there's something cool that's called belly bands. It's like a little belly band that can wear inside of the house, and definitely monitor, manage, and positively reinforce or reward the behaviors that you do want to see. And don't leave them out of sight until they're settled and they have a routine.
And a lot of times marking can also be medical related, so it might not be a behavior issue. It can be also a medical behavior too, which is why we always recommend having a good relationship with your veterinarian, because if they are marking out of the blue, sometimes, I know that happened with my pet, it was a medical issue. He had a urinary tract infection, and that not necessarily was a behavior issue. So definitely consider that other option too.
Yes. If the urination or if there's anything abnormal and the dog is excessively drinking water, there's blood or anything of that, please consult with your veterinarian. A dog that just pees a lot and a lot and a lot, there's definitely probably something wrong.
And so then my last question is, why is a schedule so important for either a puppy or an adult dog?
A schedule is important so that the dog, they're creatures of habit, just like we are. They like consistency, and they will learn to adjust to feeding time, body time, and then in the beginning it's more frequent, but then we can space out the timing when they have more bladder control as a puppy, or as an adult dog, they learn, okay, now it's body time. I can hold it a little bit longer, but we want to prevent mistakes from happening and catching it before. To give the dog a successful event, and then from there we can space out the schedule a little bit longer. The crate is one of the most important tools that one has to have, because I know most of us are safe at home right now and spend a lot of time home, but it is wise to use the crate even now that we're home, because we're going to go back to normal, and then we're going to need it. And creating a schedule with crate times, potty times, feeding times, the dog will already get used to it, whether you're home or not.
And that's a really good, important thing to mention, is that now is a great time to set up a schedule, but make sure you're also creating a schedule for the event that you are going to go back to your regular life. You're going to go back to work.
I hope soon.
So creating a schedule not only for your current lifestyle right now, if you are staying at home, but also creating a schedule in the event that you're going to go back to work, because that change of schedule can also create some behavior challenges for your pet as well. So thank you, Miriam. Is there anything else you want to add on potty training or anything like that?
No, just to stick with it and to not get frustrated. It's very important that we give compassion to the animals that we come home. It's hard to realize how much stress a shelter, even if we abide by the 5 freedoms, can be on a pet, and to change from one living situation into another. I mean, we've all been visitors at a house at one point or another, and you don't even feel comfortable going to the refrigerator. So they need to adjust too. And we need to give them time. And if help is needed, they can reach out to us and we can talk to them one-on-one, and take it from there. Thank you for fostering, and thank you for not giving up on your pets.
So thank you so much, Miriam. Like I said, this is going to be a brand new series called Wagging Wednesday, where every week we're going to be talking with our training and enrichment team to give you guys some tips and tricks and behavior and training advice right here on our social media. So if you guys have any specific behavior or training questions that you guys have, please let us know in the comments below, and we'll definitely cover that in a future episode. So again, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.